Dr. Didi is talking about. In fact, the idea here is, if there was a basic, I just had, it's like when you put rice in your plate, somebody can add meat, somebody can choose not to add meat, it will still be full, whereas the taste might be different. All right, so what I want to talk about? Talk about concept paper, what's the role? Talk about the functions, and talk about what are requirements for you in terms of developing a concept paper going for you. What happened to your glasses? Take my own. All right, of course, you got this advert, otherwise we won't be here. And we said, sorry? That was 2023, no problem. There's no difference. I said the project aims to support the capacity development of young researchers interested in biological and youth development issues. So, can you read it for me?
Undertake policy relevant research.
That's the whole essence here. That you want to undertake, every other thing is based on this, undertaking policy. And that's why I took time to talk to you about, for example, what's the youth policy, what are the components, what are the thoughts around it. Okay, so let's talk about research. And if you open 10 books on research, they will have 10 frameworks. Everybody has his way of thinking. But the good thing is that there are commonalities that are essential. So, I think it always starts with posing a question. And like I tell people, the more fertile mind you have, or the mindset you have to ask questions, the more successful you can be as a researcher. Think about this. The law of gravity. What happened? Somebody was sitting down under the tree and a fruit fall. Is that the first time in the world, in life, that fruit will fall from a tree? I'm sure since the day God created this world, fruit have been dropping, but nobody asked question. You have just take it as given. And somebody say, why are things always dropping and they are not? And that gave us a whole natural law. And so every good research starts with a question. And I'm sure that I didn't even talk to you about where the questions come from. But I always tell people one of the easiest way about questions is everyday observation. Everyday events. The other way is conversations. The other way is reading books and materials. And then having posed a question, you then go and collect and examine the answer to the question. Professor will tell you that yesterday, I was teaching a class yesterday morning in Lagos. I had a different framework than this question, but they are all the same. This is just the three easiest things. Pose a question, try to answer the question, and then share your answer to that question, and you are done. Okay? But in doing all that, I always tell people, it starts with a proposal. I do a lot of grant seeking, I do a lot of grantmanship, and that's why you probably see me sometimes in this room, sometimes in upstairs, because we're running, as I'm talking to you, we're running like 2 projects. I'm probably running like 5 projects in my life right now. I'm running one in Ife, I'm running all kinds of projects in my life. But everything around them that's the same. Start with an idea that is formalized. And that's a proposal. And that starts the whole idea. You start with an idea. Then, such topic. You develop a proposal. You go and look for money for it. If you are aiming to continue to use your money to do research, 2 things are likely to happen to you. You become poorer, and then you don't do good people. Except, there's an exception. You have great skill to do secondary data analysis. Then you don't need to spend money to collect data. And yet you can publish great work. People are looking like me like, is it serious? We did a work late last year. We are looking at sexual violence related pregnancy of Nigeria. Where am I going to get that money? If I use the whole of my salary, they pay me, like we say in NASU, our salary cannot take us home. Our take home cannot take us home. I can't do that study in one state. And that's why I tell people you must develop a mindset to look for grants. It's a difficult thing sometimes, but if you don't start, you'll not get there. So, you get your fund, you do your research, you get your result, you apply the result, but at the center of it all is what? Your proposal. So what's a proposal? I always tell people, sorry, I'm not doing definition, I don't read slides, I'm sure you have noticed, I just like to talk to people. When you think about proposal, you can define anyway. Yeah, it's a document that presents a case for action so that somebody, you are like a salesman saying, I'm selling bottled water. Buy my bottled water. That's what you're doing. I have this great idea. I need somebody, you're presenting a case. And I say it serves like 3 major purposes. And that's what people often don't remember. There are 3 cases. Number 1 is a communication tool. So when I'm in normal setting, like when I used to be in Ife, or even here, and somebody comes to me and says, I have a great idea. When I listen, I feel like, okay, go and put it down. Because what you have said, as far as I'm concerned, means nothing. Because if I ask you tomorrow and change the story, how am I going to hold you to it? But when you write down, writing is a precise art. Talking is not precise. I can start talking to you now, some of you might know the story that they talk about in Yoruba land, about a community where they believe that the mother of the king is a witch. And everybody said, we'll come a meeting together and we'll tell her, you are the spokesman, tell her, I will pronounce the beginning and then you complete the story. And after the king, everybody has heard out. You must pronounce the beginning, nobody pronounce the end. And the king said, you must pronounce the end. You must quickly change the story. You can't hold it because that's speaking. But writing is a precise art. It's an evidence. It's a communication. So you are saying to me, this is what I want to do. And it's so extremely important because variables also change. Let me give you a story. I like to tell stories a lot. It's something that happened the last 24 hours. In this project we are doing, there's an amount of money we said we are going to run this project for, a couple of some millions we are going to run this for. And we have what to do. We are going to do this, we are going to do this, we are going to do this. But now, petrol money has changed. If I told them, just give me this money, I want to go and do a project. Now I have to try and bamboozle them to give more money. What I need to do is like, this is what we budgeted for petrol. Now petrol has become this amount. I don't need argument. You better bring the extra money, otherwise this work can't be done. Because there's a communication tool where we are saying exactly what we want to do. Does that make sense? That's one of the first things. The other thing does, if there's a plan for action, you know that once I do this, I talk to the people, the next thing is this, next thing, and because you have set it in mind, it's like a plan you can go. But the other one is that it's a contract. One of my first, my very first grant, it was a 2-year grant that at the end of 1 year, it didn't get renewed. Because I haven't learned then that proposals are contracts. This guy was trying to tell me to tell you my story about, sorry. So these are one of my stories. I got a grant, and in that grant, it was going to be a work that I'm going to do some work in school, in the university environment, around young people and sexual reproductive petition, blah, blah, blah. And believe me, I did an extremely good work. Even better than those who got the second year. By my own record, it's every man say good thing about it. But let me tell you one of the interesting things. That was the work I did like 17 years ago. I produced a group, Campus Rights Initiative on campus. That club is still existing today. They're still running. But what happened? When I wrote this proposal, and then I started on campus, I found that something changed. So I was talking to the program officer. I'm going to change this. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to change, yes, that's good, just go on. As life will happen, the man japa before the end of the year, and they brought another program officer. And she looked at my report and said, you said you would do A, B, C, D. What you have done is A, K, J, K. I'm like, I told the other program officer, he approved it. Can you show me where he wrote it? That was the end of my project. Because it's a contract. When contracts break, there's penalty for it. But what she have done was to get them to rewrite the contract, to incorporate the new things and to drop the old ones. I didn't learn then that proposal is a contract. But now I know better. That is a contract. And what it means that if you say you do it, you have to do it. If you don't have to, if they are not doing it, there must be a good reason. And you must let them know, and they must agree that that's it is. If it's not written, it's not being communicated. Okay. I always tell people that when you think about research and that it is a 4-dimensional thing. This I didn't carry from book. These are based on my own personal thinking and experience. But there are only 4 basic things. One, it starts with a powerful idea. An idea that becomes irresistible, and the person is like, wow, let me look for money for you. It starts with a good idea. And like I said, I didn't even talk more to you about idea. Then the second one is what I call potent science. You know, the difference between a researcher and a non-researcher is a trained mindset to think in a particular way. Let me give you an example. We were doing a research work some time ago around a couple of states. And that research work includes us collecting data from the health facility, from the health workers, and then to go home to collect information about the woman, from the women at home, about their children and that use of facility. And then one researcher called me excitedly when we got to the field. He went first to the clinic, and that day was their only clinic. So he saw the health workers, but he saw a lot of mothers and a lot of children. I said, sir, everything we need is here. The mothers are here, the children are here, we can fill this one faster. You know, like the story of the man who saw water and say, I can be baptized now. So I told her, I said, no, you can't. I said, you can't take those mothers. You have to go and look for them. Yeah, but they are already here. Why do I want to waste time, money, effort? It's like I wanted to punish him as far as it's concerned. So I have to explain to him or her, to him. I said, you know what? You want to know how mothers use facilities. If you use the women in these facilities, you can't answer that question because there are women who didn't come here. Who at all? So you have to take them, you have to sample in a way, you have to, like, you know, that takes a trained mind to know that there is something called sampling procedure. There's something called a bias. It could be population bias, it could be from, it takes a trained mind. And that's why when people say, when people come and say, come and give us a lecture or train us how to get grants, I always laugh. I do it though, and I collect my money, you know. I collect my consultancy. I collect my money. But the truth is that you can't teach anybody how to get grants in one class setting. You can give him a broad idea. Why? To learn the science takes time. That's why we run epidemiology. That's what we run research method. You can't sit people down in 1 hour and teach the whole of the epidemiology. You can't teach the whole of statistical research. And that's one of the challenges I want to throw to you. Continue to develop your understanding of science, of research. It's a lifelong phenomenon. I'll tell you one last story on this. Not the last story for the lecture, one last story. You know, I think that I've been involved in research for several years. I think I know a little bit about research. 3 years ago, I was working in Gopaka Institute, and we were going to do a work. And believe me, one of my colleagues, who was our qualitative expert, developed a proposal and started talking about some methods. I have never had them before in my life. In the whole of my life, I have never. And yet I've been doing that for like 20, 30 something years. But I have never. So I had to go and read when So it's a lifelong venture to develop capacity of protein science. We can always build, we can always become better. The third dimension is about persuasive presentation. You know that if you meet two statesmen, the man that you buy from may not be the one that has the greatest product. He's the one that has the greatest ability to convince you. And that's true about proposals. You can have powerful ideas, you can have very potent science. If you are not going to present in a way that will appeal to the people, you won't win the grant. Our persuasion here is about how you craft, how you write, how you present it. Is that all science of when they see that work, what jobs are them? Do you know that teachers, when they mark, that's why it's not good to mark this, long essay questions. Sometimes when people are writing are so nice that before you start marking, you are happy. And then you see my own writing, you cannot read it. you know, when I write in exams, and I'm not joking, there used to be lines in the books. I write like one sentence across 3 lines so that they can try and see it. Because if I write normally, they won't see it. I have to write like this. I'm sure some people will just be subtracting my mark for. Persuasive presentations are important. As to the writing style, writing skill, all of those are important. And I do hope that we can talk about writing in one of these days. And all of this, talk about proposal. But it doesn't talk about getting the result. Why? Because if you develop all this and you lose the processing, it becomes zero. It's like you do exam and you have done the exam very well. And when they say, come and submit, you forgot to put in your bag and you went to, and you are jubilating. And you then got home and you are like, of course you know the mark you get now. You already know. And I can tell you from personal experience, I have missed several grant opportunities because I didn't process well enough, particularly timing. When the university says deadline is 12 midnight, but you start to submit 12:01, the computer doesn't take it. And so it's about this kind of mindset, understanding you need idea that is powerful, you need science that is cutting edge, you need writing ability and presentation that is excellent, and you must pay attention to every detail. If they say start with writing yourself before your name, don't say name is better than name should come first. No, you are not the owner of the money. You want this money, you must follow his instruction. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit. I said this is going to be 10 minutes. So, when you think about ideas, we all think about ideas. Some ideas are interesting, but they are not doable. I've had a master's student who did not finish the master's. She has this very interesting idea. I'm like, don't, this idea. It's, At the end of the day, she went to, what's the name of this place in Kappa? One research institution in Kappa. I don't even know if you know where Kappa is, Furo. Because she wanted a particular equipment. They said their own are spoiled. They will go to NAFDAC. Because of masters. I always tell people, let me talk about it. Let me tell you about my experience. One of my most exciting experiences about doing research. Many years ago, when I started research, I used to be in occupational health. If you look at some of my early papers, it will work among welders, arc welders, among furniture makers. That was where I started my research for. Before I just found myself in this. One of the things I read those days, I have done work around welders, I've done work around their eyes, I've done work around their lungs, and I like to be systematic. So I wanted to do an additional work. So I read a work that talk about the effect of the exposure to the lights, I read that, and the heat, and how it affects sperm production, sperm motility, sperm characteristics. I'm like, wow, I have an opportunity to do this work. So I went to welders and wanted to collect sperm from them. Why are you laughing? Guess how many people agreed to give me their sperm? What do you think will be going through their mind? You know, but no man can do it.
Yeah, sure.
In this place, it's just juju. You want to make money.
This man is a troublemaker.
You know, and see, but I had a great idea. Well, I must refine that idea through several lens. The context, the desirability, the availability of equipment. You know, if you don't reframe it, you don't get there. As if I didn't learn from that. Another year, I said I will do. When I moved to reproductive health, this I talk about most constant stories about research. I went to meet my supervisor at my BSc level, Professor Guni, who is a parasitologist. We have published a work around malaria, IPT, in the top journal. I'm like, I just read about the relationship between placenta malaria and concentration, parasite concentration, and cord blood concentration, and the work had been done around here, even in Africa. So I brought the team together. I called Professor Guni, who is the pastor. I called my gynecologist friend. I called public. I called the nurse. What do you want to do? You want to collect placenta of people and check it for malaria parasite. Of course, you know the answer that question. The mothers refuse to get placenta. I said, we have good ideas. It's not that we have good ideas. You must pass through a number of grids to examine should this proceed to the level of. In my regular time, God, I don't want this is not a regular lecture, this is just like 15 minutes. I will show you what some of those grids are. But the idea is you start an idea, but you must pass through certain interrogation before it becomes truly a concept paper. And then all right, so what's concept paper? Can you read for me below me? Then I'm now go on. Read the first sentence.
Concept paper lays the foundation for the development of full research proposal and study agenda. So
it's not the full research paper. In fact, when you talk with many agencies, they don't ask you for a full research paper because it's a waste of time. They want to see are you on the right track before they go and ask you to go and develop full paper. So it's simply a foundation that gives you that broad idea that you can then develop further. Number two, Amina.
Provides an introductory form of communication between the researcher and relevant.
So sometimes we want to do research. Some agencies will tell you this is what we want to do. Some agencies are just open. And you just want to ask them first, this is the kind of idea we are thinking about. Does it make sense to you? Is it something you'll be interested in? Before we go and waste the whole of our life writing. So it gives you that kind of opportunity to initiate discussion. You can't just call somebody for information and say, you know what, I'm thinking of developing this index, so do you think you will like it? But if you do an introductory paper, a concept, they can then take a look, take a time, examine and say, okay, does this happen to us? Oh, go and change it this way, it will meet our need. That kind of. And finally, sir.
Comprised of many of the same items found in the proposal.
So the same, so someone say, why do I write it? Essentially, it's about writing almost the same thing. But this is just like giving some quick insights. But it's not always like that. Sometimes people will tell you how they want that concept paper to be. There is grand challenge now out that asking something about AI in medicine. They tell you this is what we want, this is what we want, this is what we want. So the first law is follow the instruction of the funding agency. That's the first law. It's not what you read in book or what you read in school. Then the second law is when there is nothing specific, then follow what you know in the norm that you learned in school and you learned in research space. All right. And I always think that there are three dimensions to everything we talk about. It's about problem, process, and provisions. I like to do things like the same words, so it makes it easy for me to remember. So the problem, what are you proposed to address? Why? is that the problem you want to address? The whole problems in the world. No, this world is full of many problems. Why is that the one you want to address? And the second thing is the process. How do you plan to do it? When do you plan to do it? And then the last is provision. What do you need in terms of resources? Money, material, and so on. Once you have those three answers, you are done. You can go to bed. So, format for concept paper, there is no concept, there is no format. The format that works is the format that the man who wants to fund you says, but if you don't have that, then do certain things that you know. But across boards, so far, I found that everybody wants certain things. They want to know the problem you are solving. They want to know your plan for solving. They want to know what it takes to solve. It may change in different ways, how they arrange things, specificities, but that's the one. So follow the instruction. I can't say that alone. Follow the instruction. Follow the instruction. Follow the instruction. Otherwise, you are failed. Okay, so don't worry about my last one. What do we want? And this is my last one. Oh no, this is what we want. The other two are just examples from other works, just to show you that there are commonality in task, but there are specificities in what each individual wants. So this is the kind of thing we are looking for you to do that one. You have a title of a proposed research, 20 words maximum. Give us a background to that research, about 250 words. Present a statement of your problem, objective of the research. What are the specific research questions? Some insight around the literature. If possible, I should probably write that there. I didn't write that there. Preferably, get a theoretical framework to guide your thinking about the work. Develop your method of how you want to do the work. What is the result? And provide us with 10 references, so to say. And this is what we are asking of you, that you do, so that you all can see where you are going and you can make input to it. Okay, so this is what we are expecting you to submit, but don't start this way by starting to write topic. The way to start is simply to read and read. There was a young person that came to me in there from Center for Gender once. She's doing BSc. And they were looking for people to supervise them. She wanted to do something about reproductive gender, blah, blah, blah. So they said she should come to see me. So after we spoke, I didn't see her for a long time. Then one day I said to the director. And the director said, Prof, that student said you said you don't want to supervise her. So I started laughing. I said, no, I didn't say that. She decided that she didn't want this man at this trouble. Well, the day he came, he met one of my resident doctors who I was supervising in my office. So she came and said, I want to supervise Miss. I'm like, are you sure? He said yes. So I told my resident doctor, tell her my condition for supervision. So I said, number one, that I say you must read 25 papers and you must submit all the 25 articles before I open page 1 of your writing. So that one went on. So I told her, I said, no, don't do 25, do just 10 and read. And bring them from me. I have to bring them, the 10. And I have to ask you questions about them to know you have read them. So I told the madam, I said, that's why the poor girl ran away. Like, but what she doesn't know is that if you don't read, you can't begin to write. If you don't read and you're writing research, you are simply wasting your time. So don't start by jumping to topics. Remember something, I don't know who said it, maybe I did, maybe I saw. People say, this work has not been done before. There are tons of paper. Because there is paucity of data. That's a very popular one. There is paucity of data in this area. To the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge. Oh my God. There was a girl, and this is a true life story, and I read out of this story. The girl is a professor now. In fact, She was going to get the job here. I wish she got the job here. I would have called her name if she was here to remove.